You remember this woman? You remember her? Khilanani, Aruna. Aruna Khilanani, New York-based psychiatrist Aruna Khilanani, who earned outrage over her, quote, shoot whites lecture.
I had fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person that got in my way, burying their body, and wiping my bloody hands as I walked away relatively guiltless. With a bouncing my step, like I did the world a fucking favor.
A sweetheart, a wonderful lady. So wouldn't that be nice if you had hired her to be your psychiatrist and you were white and you're thinking, you know, you're so white guilted. You want to go out there, you want to give tons of money to a non-white doctor and you're going to share your deepest thoughts with, and she's looking at you with absolute hatred. How often does that happen? How often does it happen where you have a non-white surgeon or a non-white oncologist or not, where they are, I'm not saying it's happened. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. But how often do you have a anti-white, non-white person who is supposed to care for you, maybe working on your automobile, and who hates you like Khilanani hates you? How often does that happen? Something to think about when you are giving your country over. She was bombarded with embarrassing 1-star ratings. Khilanani came under fire after she claimed that she fantasized about, quote, unloading a revolver into the head of white people that got in her way, close quote. The backlash saw Twitter calling for Khilanani to be fired, although she isn't technically affiliated with the university. But a quick Google search on the doctor reveals that her Manhattan-based private practice has now been permanently closed. That, my friends, is a huge victory, because if you all recall, we organized the great Naderific and Nathaniel and Biospirit of the West and others in the outreach team. We got a letter together, and people hammered. So many wonderful folks out there in service to white well-being.
We started posting essentially a call to action wherever we could, asking others for help, and that's what I want to read now. Okay. So, last night, a vicious anti-whites hatred of an entire race of people was exposed to the world. Aruna Khilanani, psychiatrist, MD of New York, spoke to Yale University of her personal fantasies regarding the wanton execution of Westman. We ask the greater white positive community today to take action alongside us here at the outreach team in filing complaints with medical authorities. I'd like to ask the following information to be shared in the chat, and Raymond has this information already, so he can share it. Formal complaints can be filed with the New York State Department of Health, Office of Professional Medical Conduct Review Center at 150 Broadway, Suite 350, Albany, New York, zip code 12204-2719. You can call the office Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern at 1-800-663-6114. And you can email the office at opmc@health.ny.gov. And again, that's 1-800-663-6114 and opmc@health.ny.gov. Use the lexicon and dialectics of going free, and we can seize the momentum. We here at the OT have been distributing the following script into circles of infuriated vagues and have been encouraging them to share it amongst their own. You may use the following as a model for your script to share, which vagues can easily copy and paste into emails and social media or read over the phone. Remember to seed the lexicon and meme curatives. I recommend calling over the phone because emails are very easy to ignore. The script is as follows. The most vulnerable members of our communities seek the help of medical professionals to alleviate their suffering, not to exacerbate it. Aruna Khilanani, MD and psychiatrist in New York City, recently flaunted her irrational, deep-seated, and violent anti-whiteism for the world to see during a lecture at Yale University, sharing heinous pretexts to justify the victimization of European-descended peoples and distributing and disturbing violent fantasies of their wholesale slaughter. She is therefore complicit in any harm that is inflicted upon them.
Said this is an outrage, and they sent messages. They bombarded the board there that holds her license. And I guarantee you, a concerted effort is far more powerful than just random, somebody saying she should be fired on Twitter. People actually reaching out and saying this is violently anti-white. That got people's attention. That got her business partners' attention. That got the attention of the board that holds her license. They got the attention of Yale. Yes, they are anti-white, but they get very nervous when you step back. They don't give a damn when you write them and say, this woman is racist to white people. They don't give a damn about that because they think you're an idiot, because you are. But you don't have to remain one. But when you write up and you say, this is anti-white, this is anti-whiteism, this woman, and you go about it from our perspective, where we are moral, then they are put in the immoral position and they have to do something. They see a groundswell of moral indignation. That, my friends, is scary to anti-whites in power. Not some Aunt Nat twit talking about how the balloon's going to go up one day and he's going to finally do something. That doesn't. They love that when you do that. You're their puppet. You're their Muppet. You're their streetwalker. You're doing everything they want you to do. When they see an uprising of moral indignation that can inspire people to act with morality and love in ways that can materialize as angry letters, angry phone calls, but can also materialize as boycotts, that can also materialize all the way up to what moral, angry indignation can always do. That, my friends, and that doesn't need to be said, doesn't need to be articulated. That, my friends, intimidates. So we have more from this, but her practice, done. This anti-white piece of filth, Aruna Khilanani, her practice is done. And it should be done. Her career should be done. Her license should be taken away. She should never again be permitted to lecture another class at Yale or at the goddamn community college down the street. Nowhere. Credentials yanked, shunned from all of society. That's what needs to happen to Aruna Khilanani. No one should have her, and anyone who will employ her, anyone who would have her speak, their jobs too should be called for. Their licenses too should be called for. That is how we have to act. That is how we have to behave. And anybody out there in the white sympathetic sphere who's going to say, well, what really is that going to do? It's a victory, you empty-headed loser. It is a collective victory. And you build one collective victory after another, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. You just want an excuse to sit on your ass. While we go out there and have victory after victory, you criticize us. While we get out there and we get people, anti-whites, fired, we get them having to shut down their businesses. We play a huge role in that, and there's more to say about this. We play a huge role in that, while you sit around and doom document at little meetings where people shout about other races of mankind, and you think you're doing something. We just changed something. She's not going to be speaking to white students anymore about and normalizing the ideas of murdering white people. You need to be able to name the anti-white. We did, and we targeted our responses at the boards and the personalities and the decision makers that needed to hear what we had to say about this mentally unstable person.